Celebrating 49 years on the air, award-winning Farm Week is a production of Mississippi State University Extension.
Today on Farm Week, more detail on those bridge payments coming to producers very soon. Plus, this year's row crop short course, Extension's big learning event here in Starkville. In Southern gardening, it doesn't have to be spring outside to be colorful, says Eddie Smith. And in our encore feature, we travel back 25 years to meet a legendary woodcarver. Farm Week starts right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Zach Ashmore.
And I'm Mike Russell. Great to have you with us again here on Farm Week. Merry Christmas. Last week, we reported on the new bridge payments coming to farmers from the USDA to help offset tariff losses. Here's more detail from reporter Peter Tubbs.
The White House announced a bridge payment plan to assist farmers who have lost income due to trade disruptions caused by higher tariffs.
The bridge that is needed to get from the last administration and what basically happened under the last president and the last U.S. Department of Agriculture to this new golden age for farmers where instead of farming for government checks, they can farm to feed their family and sell their products and pass it on to the next generation, that this bridge is absolutely necessary based on where we are right now.
A $12 billion package will be targeted mostly at the major commodities: wheat, corn, soybeans, cotton, peanuts, and rice. $1 billion will be reserved for specialty crops. The funds to make those payments will be coming from import tariffs collected since the start of the trade war. The bridge payments will be limited to operations with an adjusted gross income under $900,000 and will be capped at $155,000 per recipient. While the money won't make farmers whole, it may help reduce some of their losses.
And I think, Mr. Trump, I think you brought Christmas to farmers. With this bridge payment, we'll be able to farm another year, help us get by.
The payment comes at the end of a growing season where none of the major commodity crops are expected to be profitable. The combined production of corn and soybeans in the U.S. is expected to lose $22 billion this year. The National Young Farmers Coalition and the National Sustainable Agricultural Coalition issued a joint statement. The Farmer Bridge Assistance Program provides some initial relief, but is insufficient on its own. It effectively excludes most specialty crop growers and does little to prevent the loss of farms or farmland due to acute financial hardship. The Agricultural Trade Monitor at North Dakota State University estimates that tariffs are adding 9% to the price of agricultural inputs. The Chinese are behind their originally agreed upon pace for soybean purchases in 2025, but the Trump administration has moved that deadline to the end of February 2026. Rollins says farmers will be able to apply for the bridge payments before the end of December, and the money will be distributed by February 28, 2026.
Last week, we also told you about a pushed-up deadline from the European Union that could have a big impact on Mississippi's timber market. I spoke with Ag Commissioner Andy Gibson about how the EU would attempt to enforce it.
They're pressuring the big timber buyer companies, which there are a few, and they're forcing them or telling them to put it in their contracts. So when it's actually in the contract for the purchase of timber that the farmer would have to agree, we're never going to cut our trees down. We're always going to have forest land here. That is showing up in purchasing contracts, and it's coming from the EU.
Once a year, MSU Extension hosts what it calls the Row Crop Short Course here in Starkville, sharing with producers from all over research that will help them be better producers. Jonah Holland was there and filed this report.
Greatest meeting in the Mid-South. And I've been coming to this thing for probably 15 years.
Extension's annual row crop short course has become a destination for farmers and experts alike from all across the country looking to learn the latest trends and innovations in the ag industry. Hosted at The Mill near Mississippi State University's campus, this year was no exception, drawing in a crowd ready to learn and connect.
It's a special meeting. I think one of the things that people can expect to get here is a lot of networking opportunities with folks that are heavily involved with agriculture, be it growers, consultants, industry person, university and certainly extension specialists. Interact with them, talk about what's going on, talk about just best management practices and things like that, what's new in the ag marketplace.
The row crop short course, every year this is kind of our big meeting where all the specialists can come in, outside other specialists and extension specialists from around the region and other parts of the state can come in and really the biggest time where we can get our growers, our consultants, and other academics to be able to come together, and we get to talk about what we've been researching, what we've been doing on farm, and from an extension standpoint, this is a good hub to get that information out.
MSU Associate Professor, Extension Entomologist, and row crop short course organizer Whitney Crow shares what participants can expect to learn.
We offer a variety of programs that consist of several out-of-state speakers across the Southeast. But we cover topics of agronomy, weed science, entomology, plant pathology. We have a couple of wildlife talks, but the goal is to cover a broad range of needs as we wrap up the 2025 growing season and go into the 2026 growing season.
There's no way to come here and interact and not walk away with interesting and usable information for their operations. You're going to simply learn something when you come to an event like this, and that's what makes them so special, right? We're all learning.
If it takes you 24 hours to irrigate an irrigation set, that top of the field's receiving water for 24 hours. That bottom side of the field may be receiving water for 3 or 4 hours.
From ever-changing regulations, rising expenses, and evolving technology, farmers are no stranger to facing challenges. A core topic at this year's row crop short course focused on best practices for protecting profit in times of economic uncertainty. One of many ways Extension serves the community is bringing information to their clients when it matters most.
Extension is the consultant's best friend. They do a lot of the footwork and then pass the results on to us, good, bad, or ugly. They are who we rely on, for information and data.
The number one takeaway is that Mississippi State Extension is here to serve the needs of the stakeholders, and we hope that we're able to condense that into a 3-day program to meet those needs. But if not, at the very least, they know that the MSU Extension Service is here, and if they have any suggestions or need anything, to always call us, because that's what we're here for.
Reporting for Farm Week, I'm Jonah Holland.
It may be the end of the year and chilly at that, but color is still a possibility in the landscape. Here's Eddie Smith with the Low Maintenance DIY.
Even when flowers aren't in bloom, your garden can still shine with color and texture. Today on Southern Gardening, we're visiting Vesley's Nursery, looking at a few plants with colorful foliage that brighten up any garden year-round. Let's start with Nightlight Chamaecyparis, a compact false cypress that glows in the garden. Its fine-textured golden foliage brings a warm, sunny tone even in winter. This plant's natural pyramidal shape and evergreen color make it perfect as an accent or foundation plant. It thrives in full sun with well-drained soil. For a bolder statement, Color Guard Yucca adds drama with its sword-like leaves striped in yellow and green. The bright variegation holds its color through every season. It's drought tolerant and loves the sun, making it ideal for those hot, dry spots in the landscape. In shadier areas, Aztec grass is a reliable choice for light color and texture. Its thin arching leaves are striped in creamy white and green, creating a soft, elegant look. It's easy to grow, and when planted in groups, Aztec grass forms a beautiful low-maintenance border that brightens dark corners. These plants prove that garden color doesn't always come from flowers. Their unique foliage adds interest, contrast, and texture to landscapes. I'm Eddie Smith. I look forward to seeing you next time on Southern Gardening.
We'll take a break right here, but coming up on our Farm Week feature as we begin another new year, a trip back in time. We'll bring you a Farm Week feature first produced more than 25 years ago. You'll meet Mr. George Berry, a woodcarver extraordinaire. Mr. Berry is gone now, but back then his carvings brought joy to the hearts of many, and he did it all the old-fashioned way, with a pocket knife. That's coming up on Farm Week. Don't go away.
I believe in people and their hopes, their aspirations and their faith, and their right to make their own plans and arrive at their own decisions, and their ability and power to enlarge their lives and plan for the happiness of those they love. I believe that education, of which extension work is an essential part, is basic in stimulating individual initiative, self-determination, and leadership. That these are the keys to democracy, and that people, when given facts they understand, will act not only in their self-interest, but also in the interest of society. Because I believe these things, I am an extension professional.
I believe in people and their hopes, their aspirations, and their faith. I believe in intellectual freedom to search for and present the truth without bias and with courteous tolerance toward the views of others. I believe that education is a lifelong process, and the greatest university is the home. That my success as a teacher is proportional to those qualities of mind and spirit that give me welcome entrance to the homes of the families I serve. Because I believe these things, I am an extension professional.
Time for the market report. Market split, but still slipping.
With a few exceptions here and there, along with some updates from the Farm Bureau. But first, the numbers. What were the week's biggest gains and losses? And then, a deeper dive into the recent Farm Bureau conference. Some important announcements made that will affect Mississippi producers. So, markets closed split with row crops trending down while livestock still going up. Let's take a look. The week's biggest gain, lumber, up 19.5 bucks. That's more than a 3.5% increase from the previous week. The week's biggest loss, soybean oil, down over 1.5 cents, more than a 3% decrease from the previous week. So the recent Farm Bureau conference featured many speakers from all across the board of influence, and with that in mind, some pretty important announcements were made that will have an impact on the producers of Mississippi.
You know, like Farm Bureau, Mississippi State University Extension Service, when our faculty and our county agents or our extension agents out in the county, when we wake up in the morning and our feet hit the ground, we're thinking of ways to serve our farmers across this state, whether we're delivering them research-based information or just helping them out with day-to-day.
And with those words, Dr. Catchot made it clear that the mission of the Farm Bureau and MSU Extension are similar. The 2025 Farm Bureau Annual Convention featured many speakers from all across the state, many of them people with the power to affect the lives of the state's farmers. Congressman Michael Guest and Mike Ezell among them.
Mississippi is home of our farmers whose hard work feeds America. And lastly, Mississippi is home of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, who is a leading voice for agriculture in our state and who, under the leadership of President Mike McCormick, serves as a tireless advocate for each of you, our farmers and our ranchers.
If we got any catfish farmers in here, I want to let you know there's some good news coming for you on the voting on the House on Tuesday. The catfish farmers let me know that there was a bird that was decimating their catfish fingerlings and just giving them a very hard time and had for many years. It was a cormorant. And so they were telling me about what that bird was doing to their catfish, and it's costing them $65 million a year for the catfish industry. So I want you to know that bill is going on the floor on Tuesday next week to take that bird off of the Endangered Species Act. And so we'll be able to do something about that bird coming in there eating your catfish. I felt really good about that. So I just want to make sure that all our catfish farmers know that. Something else that I have been very actively involved in while being in the Congress is our pine trees. As many of you know, so many of these Green New Deal type people are not treating our pine tree as a crop. Well, I want you to know that we're here today to change that, and things are really moving forward with harvesting our pine trees again so that we can actually use a pine tree what it's meant to be, as we are living in the pine belt.
Earlier this year, you might have heard of a piece of legislation called the One Big Beautiful Bill. And in the One Big Beautiful Bill, Congress was able to address many of the concerns that are typically dealt with in a farm bill. And specifically, we're able to make significant investments in the safety net for producers. We were able to increase reference prices for ARC and PLC. We were able to add base acres, 30 million base acres. We were able to increase funds for trade. We made sure LLCs are on equal footing with other business partnerships, which really should help people in their organizations how they qualify for federal programs. Additionally, we improved livestock disaster programs to be more responsive to drought and predators. In poultry, we're able to create the first management tool for extreme weather. So those are all things that Congress was able to pass this year that I think happened outside the traditional farm bill process. But coming in October of next year, of 2026, producers will see the benefits of the increased reference prices and the improvements to the safety net when those new prices trigger.
As you can see, this annual meeting has been known as a good place to feature programs and actions designed to help the Mississippi farmer. And it's not just representatives in Washington. State leaders, too, have a lot to say.
We are in the midst of a nationwide farm crisis at this very moment. Actually, it's nothing new. It's been a crisis that's been brewing under the surface for a number of years, as you know, as global trade has gotten way out of balance, as input prices have skyrocketed, interest rates, and as commodity prices have dropped. The row crops all over this country, the farmers producing our great row crops, are hurting. We cry out to Washington, D.C., and Congress did help last year about this time of year. But I want to tell you on that call that I had this past Wednesday with Secretary Rollins, a little bit of good news, because this coming week, directly from the President, from the White House in the Oval Office, there will be a major announcement of some greatly needed help for our farmers across this country. Now, the second thing that I want to mention is the farm situation that we face nationwide and here in Mississippi is not something that I believe we can just sit back and wait and hope that Washington will always be there to bail us out, because they won't always. I took the initiative back in the summer to form a strategic planning committee, and I'm calling it the Farm Planning Committee. That stands for the Future of Agriculture Resiliency in Mississippi. And we have to look at the bigger picture. Now, we can't control a lot of these global forces and issues that are out there, but we can do what we can do in the state of Mississippi for our farmers to support our greatest industry in the whole state, which is agriculture, and do things better than we have in the past. Whether it's state policies that need to be improved or federal policies that we need to advocate. And the whole purpose of this committee is to travel the state and listen to you, the farmers, and to get your input on what works and what doesn't work and what we could do better as a state, as the state of Mississippi. And at the end of this process, by next March or April, our goal is to have a full strategic plan that will chart the course for the future of agriculture in Mississippi for ourselves and for the next generation.
And that's it for a deeper look into the markets. Mike?
Thanks, Zach. Years ago, Farm Week's Brian Utley visited with a man in Rankin County, Mississippi, known for his wood carvings. George Berry passed away in 2014, but his work was well known. Here's that original story.
There are many different methods people use in order to relax. For some, it may be reading a book or going on a long walk. A man from Rankin County has a special method he uses. It's wood carving. George Berry has been relaxing now for more than 50 years, carving out animals that are commonly seen in Mississippi. And he does it all with a pocket knife. Farm Week's Brian Utley tells us more.
Take a drive across Mississippi, and you're likely to come across some of the animals and wildlife that are central to the state. Stop in at George Berry's workshop in Richland, and you'll see some wooden replicas of these creatures that are almost lifelike. Berry learned the trade from his father at the early age of 7. Wood carving was used as a way to relax and pass the time.
I used to watch my dad after working all day, stand at the end of the row after he was plowing or whatever, and he would stop to rest the horses and pick up a stick and start just cutting on it.
What began as a hobby has since turned into something much larger. Hard work has helped Berry make a name for himself as an artist and a teacher. Perhaps the most amazing thing about his career is that all his carvings are created with a pocket knife.
It came natural for me to work like that, to do this. It's a gift, and I've always pursued it and practiced it, and this is what it's turning into now.
Berry moved to Mississippi from Oklahoma in 1972 to be an industrial arts instructor at the Pineywood School. Life in Mississippi has been good as he has achieved numerous awards and recognition for his work. In 1984, he was chosen to demonstrate wood carving in the Mississippi exhibit at the World's Fair. He has been featured in magazines such as Southern Living and the book Craft in America by Phyllis George. He also had one of his pieces featured on the cover of the 1993 South Central Bell telephone book, and the list goes on. The thing that sets Berry apart from other wood carvers is the fact that he doesn't use expensive machines for his work. He uses his hands. This is a distinction that he stresses.
I want him to know that I do it all by hand. I do it the old-fashioned way. That's done by the machine, that's there, and this is mine. And to me, the difference in doing that is, let me put it this way. If I go out here and dig a hole with a shovel, and you go out here and take a bulldozer, there's a lot of difference between that and this.
Wood carving is rarely taught in school classrooms, and Berry feels it is becoming a lost art. To share his love of carving with others, he often does demonstrations in schools, museums, and festivals. As a charter member of the Craftsmen's Guild of Mississippi, he also teaches year-round carving classes at the Chimneyville Crafts Gallery. Many of his students describe the experience as an escape.
Taking his class is just so relaxing. It's almost peaceful after a long day's work. You come in here and he's such an easy teacher and funny and easy to get along with that it's almost therapeutic.
I think people are starting to recognize that this is not just a wood carver. There's lots of wood carvers out there, but he's really a unique wood carver. I mean, he has this ease about him that makes him look like he could do it with his eyes closed and still come out with a wonderful piece.
Establishing a connection with people is what Berry strives for in his work. He wants them to see how good carving is for the soul.
This makes me care about myself. And I'm hoping that this will rub off on other people, that no matter whether they are carving, drawing, or whatever it is, that they will feel good about it themselves, good enough to care about themselves.
George Berry says he realizes that God has given him a special talent, and he doesn't take it for granted.
If I don't do the things that he gave me to do and the things that he blessed me to do, then I'm going to eventually lose it. So I made the decision to do what he gave me to do, and I feel, and he blessed me since.
More and more of Berry's time is spent going out and studying the animals he carves, paying close attention to their fine lines and intricate details, all in the pursuit of that perfect wood carving. He still participates in many arts and craft festivals across the state, so if you get a chance, stop in. You might get to meet a true Southern craftsman and gentleman. From Richland, I'm Brian Utley reporting.
Artist, you were fortunate to be able to go along.
I was fortunate enough to go along and do some of the photography on Brian's story there, and a very good job on that story, Brian. But Mr. Berry, just when he, like I said, when he carves, he can talk to you. He can just keep going.
Makes it look so easy.
And just, but he is.
Great story. The pleasures of days gone by. Well, next week, sometimes when farmers have nothing else, it all comes down to faith.
On Christmas Day, a brand new story of a pastor whose ministry took him to the cornfields of Clarksdale, Mississippi.
There, among farmers who often feel hopelessness, he discovered a powerful way to support them. Hundreds responded.
A faith-based industry, a Christmas story. That's next time on Farm Week. Remember, if you missed a story, look for past episodes of Farm Week on our website at farmweek.tv.
Follow us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next week. Thanks for watching.